all very fun in the beginning, innocent.
It is called the Doomsday beliefs. The Manson family developed into a doomsday cult when Manson became fixated on the idea that an apocalyptic race war is about to happen.
When Manson thought he'd killed a black drug dealer he also thought was a Black Panther. Now convinced that the full fury of the Panthers was soon to descend on the family, bitter about his failure to record his music, and most importantly, certain that a giant race war was impending, Charles Manson spent July and early August tense, paranoid, and angry.
Between the blacks and the white, and he, being white, was a white supremacist. He stood for white people's supremacy. Charles Manson told some of his Manson family members that black people in America would rise up and kill all the white people except for Manson and his family, but that they were not intelligent enough to survive on their own. They would only survive if Manson lead them, and they would only need a white man to lead them. He said unto them that they would all die in this apocalyptic racist war.
Nonetheless, Manson was aware of what was going on in the nation's cities. Since 1966, city after city had seen rioting in black neighborhoods. The cry for black power was being heard alongside the ever stronger actions against the war in Vietnam.
We're gonna make Vietnam look like a holiday.
Because if America don't come round, America should be burnt down.
But they could only survive if they were a part of the Manson family, and they took Charles Manson as their master.
And what was the philosophy that Manson was offering? It had begun with the notion of oneness and the power of love, but over time, it grew steadily more paranoid. The messages to the family grew steadily darker. There was no right or wrong, and life and death were really the same thing. In fact, death could be a welcome step on the way to a better world.
In that year, he also adapted the term that is called Helter Skelter, which is taken from the song of the Beatles' recently released White Album to refer this upcoming war.
At the heart of the prosecution effort was the bizarre story of Helter Skelter, the stranger-than-fiction doomsday scenario that Charles Manson had woven from his earlier certainty of a coming race war. Helter Skelter was a name he'd taken from a Beatles song.
Manson family went on the ensuing murder spree was so police would think the killers were still at large, that in fact it had nothing to do with Helter Skelter. The reason they wanted police to think that is because a Manson family member, musician Bobby Beausoleil, had been arrested for the murder. He was actually there, but the family wanted cops to think it was someone else. That's one theory anyway.
So this is how he brainwashed them, and he prepared them to commit some grave sins that will never be forgotten. Rest in peace to the lives that were lost on that day.
The idea was to get rid of all the conditioning, to die in yourself. So he would hold you up and say something to you. Say, see, I can see your mother on you. It's still the conditioning. You haven't gotten rid of it. You're not dead yet.
Sometimes he would reenact the crucifixion when we were on LSD. And it was very realistic. I would die for you. And then the questions would begin, would you die for me?
If you wipe away somebody's identity, say society is corrupt, forget about everything you ever learned, but then you substitute your own philosophy, it's like wiping the blackboard clean and then introducing your philosophy, and then you become the absolute leader.